talking on different racing and stuff like that. What was it like going from 3 wheels that doesn't balance and rides terrible when you're trying to courier out and that to 4 wheels, a nice safe roll cage, hands device, all that sort of thing?
Yeah. So the biggest thing for me was claustrophobic. Being in a cage, I'd say, and all belted in. Whereas on the motorbike, you're very free. You get a lot of movement. That was the first thing I struggled with, being in the car, being locked in. That's the very first thing. I've raced dirt carts before, but obviously you're in open, you're not tied in. So that was the first thing. The Speedway sidecar, obviously I've done so long, so it's just second nature. With the race car, learning about the setup, we really had no idea. We did really well in it, purely because I just don't like coming second. But just learning about the cross weights, suspension, one click, half a turn on a suspension, it just changed the car so much. So we only did one season, and I think we won the most features in South Australia that year, and I was proud of that. We did some stuff that you look back, I wish I didn't do that. But another couple of seasons we would have been really pushing at the top in Australia, I think. So that was purely because you have to learn. You have to learn about the setups, and you can't learn it all in 12 months. So I'm proud of what we did. I'm very grateful for the opportunity I got from the Whaler Earthworks racing guys. So that was an amazing opportunity. But yeah, now same old story. Now you've learned a little bit. You'd like to put that back into practice again, but who knows? One day we might get back in 4 wheels, and we might give it another crack.
I do want to touch on your 2015 Australian title win in Alice Springs. Now, last time I was around sidecars, David Tapp was doing his thing, and I so wish he was still doing it now because it was so good. But you guys did go to Alice Springs and things like that, and everyone was so pumped up to go. Everyone's got great stories about it. But what was it like going to the Australian titles there? And what was the whole meeting like for you? Were you up against it, or was it all working?
So like I mentioned earlier, we lived in Alice Springs. Alice Springs was a track that I did love, obviously, because I had a connection to it from a young age. So we were very, like Darren and I went to Alice Springs. We had some really good meetings. But when I got back on as a rider, that was my first race meeting back, and it was a proper A-grade race meeting, and we won it, and we're straight away. So Alice Springs was a track I was confident at. Also, I love that track. So, in my head, I was going there to win. So a few things happened during the night. Darren ended up getting gate 1. Dropped some points during the night and still got gate 1, and different things like that. But that doesn't change anything. So it was very unfortunate that his bike didn't last the whole way. But that's racing. We crossed the line first, and some people go, you probably shouldn't have won that and this and that. But people also don't understand that Darren and I should have won another 3 or 4 too. But that's just part of racing, So there's ones that we should have won. There's ones that it's part and parcel. But the thing is that if you're pushing at the top and you're in the Darren Trelaw's words to me is the hardest thing that people don't understand is to make the A final each week. You can have a different winner. To make A finals each week is a very hard thing to do. And I'm glad we only did, I think it was 3 years back on the bars, and each meeting we're up the pointy end, and so. It was an emotional night because I was very happy to win. It's unfortunate Darren couldn't finish the final, and but like as of a place that I would have wanted to win an Australian title, I couldn't ask for any more. We went there to live as when we were kids. For a few years, 3 years, I think we did there with mum and dad for work, and it had a good place in my heart. And I'm very it was an amazing night, and I really enjoyed it.
With racing, it doesn't matter what happens. Within reason, you finish first, that's the winner. And that's probably the most grueling part about racing is we could all be there, but until you're over the line first, you're not the winner. So how do you think about all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, well, like anyone that really knows me, they know how competitive I am. I don't let the kids win at snap. I don't want to Connect 4, they got to learn to come second too. So I just hated coming second. I get what you're saying. I'm very proud of what I've done. I'm proud of all the things I've done in racing. That's across the board. And, I've raced dirt carts, finished in the top 3 in the state in dirt carts, done really well in the car, jump on a motocross bike and, obviously not in the big stuff, but, you can still finish a club show in the top 2 or 3 and, and then jump on a road race sidecar with Darren and, learn different things. And I am proud of the way that we can adapt in all types of racing. You can adapt only so much, but also you got to have the hunger to win, and that's one thing I've always hung my hat on. I'm very competitive with everything in life, even with business now, you can sneak along, but you're still competitive. You want to make sure you do your best. And I try and install that in my children. You got to have fun. You got to have fun and you got to enjoy it, but also you've got to have that competitive drive within yourself. You don't have to be a big headed all the time, but you've got to have your own drive. Where that drive comes from. And, I am proud of that fact that, I was competitive in many different types of motorsports, but Speedway sidecars is my love. I absolutely love Speedway sidecars. People don't even understand, it's when you're a young fella. I tell this story not to many people, but I'm not religious in any way, but I remember sidewinders, because you just loved it so much, and you used to see on the TV that the people would get down next to their bed in America and they'd pray. I remember praying one night that it wouldn't rain for the next night so we could race. And I'm not religious at all. I look back at that now and go, you're an idiot. But that's just what it meant to you to go to make sure you're only 12 or 13 or whatever you were, and you could get to race your next night, and each week that's all you look forward to is getting down to sidewinders. And so it was good times.
You touched on something that is interesting to me because I get to see it with friends of mine like Brody Colin, and it's interesting to see a competitor in a sport, whether it be, table tennis, whatever, go into business. So what's that like, having that mentality of a winner to go into business? What's that like to do that next step?
Yep. So as everyone knows, like I wanted to race more than I did to go to work, which everyone does. So I devoted all my time to racing, and then I worked around my racing. So, and then I've been in the fencing industry and that for quite some time. And then after my accident, I couldn't do anything. I couldn't even lift a pen up. 22 fractures I had, and it was really close. So I had to go back into instead of being on the tools, I had to go back into the office as an estimator, and I learned the other side of the business that I didn't really put much effort into before, more about how to run a business, to book work, and it what it taught me is working for other people in the office was about like what with your race team. I pride myself on my race team. All the guys in my race team were valuable. Everyone was valuable. Everyone that their opinion of what, like I said earlier, would come in from, and someone would say, oh, you're doing this off the start, or you're doing that, and or what we should do to change the bike to go faster. So every single person had a voice in our team, and we put that together, and that's how we become, we weren't the fastest each night, but we'd work out how to win. So, and that's come from the whole team. And that's one thing I learned with, I try and get with my team now, that with work, we all, I can't do it without them, and they can't do it without me. And, that's how we try and do that. So that competitive nature when it comes to business, now I'm devoting all my time to the business. It's been a lot, it's not easy. Brody Cohen I talked to him quite a lot about different things in business, and people don't see the effort that you have to put in behind the scenes like they don't see with racing. That it's all good to see you rock up and you got all the good stuff, but there's a lot of hours in the office, and a lot of hours slugging it, to get to where you are. And the reason why you do that is because your own drive, like I was talking about before, you got a competitive drive within yourself. That's why you want to win at the track. That's why you want to win it in business. That extra little bit.
You said something about a big accident. So tell me more about that.
So I think it was 2016. I think we just went to Whaler, just a normal race meeting. Come out the start, and we touched with Hartwigs, and it's just a really simple crash. I've had some huge crashes. Get back on and you race the night. And that one, just the bike rolled and it got me in the back. And yeah, like I said, we had 22 fractured bones, like 22 separate fractures, and a thing called flail chest, which means all your ribs go, every single rib breaks and goes through your lung. And I was very lucky the flying doctors got there in the right amount of time to be able to, because they were struggling to work out what was wrong with me. But it definitely knocked me about. It took me about 3 years to be able to fight back physically, and then also mentally. So that's a lot of thing people don't understand, the mental side of when you've devoted everything to racing and then you get it taken away. So that was my choice. My choice was to retire. My son seen me in the intensive care, so that was hard. And Judd said to me he didn't want me to do that anymore. So that was a hard decision. I stand by it, and I've stuck by it. So I'd love to race again, but whether it's in four wheels, whatever it is. So, but yeah, it was a big accident, and it really, like I said, it was just not the biggest accident I've ever had, but it really, broke me up. But that makes you who you are as well. So that's in the past. We move forward, and yeah, it's good to watch the little fellas race now. So.
Yeah, it's interesting to talk about the mental side of a letdown or a crash or anything, because doing what I do, I'm as close as you can get to the track without racing. And some of the things you see, it is very emotional. Like a friend of mine broke his back down in Brisbane the other day, and I'll admit it, I was crying and I had to walk away. I held his helmet and stuff. But that's the bond you form with Speedway as a Speedway family. So do you still have a tight bond with a lot of the people that you met through Speedway?
I do. Like, I talk to Darren Chaloy every week. You've got, it's like a family. So I haven't been at the track as much as I used to, but I still love going to the track. But yeah, definitely built some huge relationships that last to the day I die. So, all the best men in my wedding were all from Speedway, and you form a great relationship. And now you talk about different other stuff as well, like how's business going, and you motivate each other and check on each other. And it's a mental thing. Especially when you're a racer. If you're a racer, then you get racing taken away from you. No one you can't explain that to anyone. No one really knows that unless they're a racer. So it's hard. It's not easy, but then you look forward to other things in life too, and watching your children grow and do stuff like that. And then when last Sunday I got to ride with my boys, and we're all riding motocross together and just having a good laugh, and that's good. But the crew racer never forgets what it's like to go pull up at the tape, fastest blokes in the world, and it's a rush that you never explain to anyone until you've done it. So it's pretty cool.
So with family, obviously you're a family man now. So how many children do you have? And you've obviously got a strong woman behind you, which is an important thing. So let's quickly touch on them.
Yeah, so I've got obviously my two sons, Judd and Kobe. Judd's 9 and Kobe's 7, and Judd's doing a bit of road racing at the moment. They both do a little bit of motocross, and they're getting into that sort of thing. And I've got a stepson who's Charlie's 18, partner's Kathy, and they're always a great support. And they see the other side too. When you're struggling, and no one really gets to see that. Like I said before, they don't see all this stuff behind the scenes. And then your family are the ones that see it. And it's not easy. And it wasn't easy. I know I wasn't easy after that crash. It was hard work to get back to here. So, but yeah, they've been a great support, and yeah, it's good to see them grow and go and follow their own dreams. And yeah, it's good fun.
Funny how we all get to the stages in our life when all of a sudden it's kid focused and, work focused and family and that, but that's just what it is as we get older. So what are some of your goals moving forward now?
Yeah, like I said earlier, I've only really started to, I've always been involved in the fencing side of things, and I'm really putting a lot of effort in now to the business at the moment. And I've had some good people behind me as well that have helped me get to where I am. Some great people that have helped me get to here, and I'm just lucky that I've got some great, really good clients that same as like I said before, I've got great relationships with my clients, great relationships with my suppliers. So just building I'm really focusing on the business to build it up now, and then that way that will, give my kids and their kids down the line, a good crack at it as well. So, yeah, that's my main focus at the moment. Within that as well, I still want to be able to, one day I want to come and race something. I'm not sure what it is yet, but I'm only 39. I'm not just going to sit by and watch the kids ride either. I'm going to go out there and ride with them. I'm still young. Still 20 in the head, but the body's not saying that every week. But that's all right. So I still want to be out there and doing it with the kids. Like look at Darren Troy now, and he gets to ride with Jake, and get to ride in the motocross together, and have a good time. And we're fortunate where we live. We've got our own motorbike track, and we all get to go out there and have a bit of a skid and have fun. But I want to be out there riding with them as well. I don't want to just be sitting by watching. So.
As a person, everyone's got their hidden talents that, people close to them know, and that. What's one of your secret talents you're very good at that not many people know?
I do enjoy cooking. I do like doing the cooking. So I don't know if that's a hidden talent, but one thing we don't struggle with is a good feed, as you can tell. That's I've been getting bigger. So, but I don't mind a bit of cooking. So that's I don't know if there's too many other hidden talents, but I do believe that when you're a young fella, you are given there's one thing that you're destined to be good at. And the one thing I believe that I was always going to be good at was a speedway passenger. I honestly say that. I mean it with conviction. When I was a kid, all I wanted to do was be a speedway passenger. I didn't really think about the rider as much, but as a passenger. And so I was very lucky to, not that it's a hidden talent. It's just one thing I really wanted and I really knew I'd be good at. So that's why, I think we did so well as well as a team, drawing places, everyone looks back at that time we had together, and we were a very formidable team.
I just want to touch on your brother again. Like I said, we shift around because the brain, but what was it like pulling up at the tapes against Mark?
Well, same old story, mate. You don't have many mates at the tapes, but he's your brother, and you grew up together, and you rode motorbikes together on the beach and all that stuff to get you to where you are now. And like I said earlier, my parents did so much for us to get to where we are now. Supported our careers, drove us all around Australia racing, and just supported us for everything. So there's always going to be there's always rivalries, especially when you're siblings. And we did have a rivalry. We don't really talk that much anymore, but that's part of life. But you couldn't be more proud of what he did at Mildura. He went out there and he won fair and square. So he was the fastest man there, and that's you cannot be more proud that of family for that. That's great.
Racing and traveling and that. What are some of the biggest miles you've done, and how do you get over that? Like you want to race, that's the goal, but I'm a bit of a sook. I'll jump on a plane as opposed to driving. But how do you get over that? I've got to travel this far to get to this meeting. How do you get over that mentally?
I don't think it was never an issue for me, because when we were kids, Mum and Dad, we travelled everywhere driving. We'd up and back from Alice Springs and stuff like that. So I think one time I flew to Sydney, grabbed the van, grabbed the car and trailer, and we drove back, raced Gilman, drove to Alice Springs, raced there, drove to Townsville from there, raced there, then drove back down to the Gold Coast. That was just basically a lap of Australia in about 5 or 6 weeks. And Darren and I just did it. That's what we did. It was just second nature to us. Obviously things are different now. You jump on a plane a bit easier, and just I don't know. It's just that just in that time, that era, that's just what we should. When I say era, it sounds like I'm old, but it's just what we did. We just jumped in the car and off we went. Or I'd go and get the car and meet Darren at the track, or I'd fly. He'd drive and I'd fly. And the travel thing was never an issue for me. I actually really enjoyed it. It's one of the things I do miss was the travel. You jump in the car and you have that freedom feeling of I'm going racing. So I think that's probably one of the things that really I did enjoy was the travel.
Who's someone that's hilarious on the drink that you normally wouldn't think they would be?
There's a he's hilarious. Mitch Jura. He's everyone knows he's hilarious, but one of the funniest guys I met in the racing was the solo rider Mitch Jura. It didn't matter what you'd be around him, and man, he'd have you in hysterics. You know, we went on a boat trip to the Barrier Reef or somewhere, and he's gone to the toilet and he's come back up, and we're on this boat, we're skipping along, and he's like, starts coughing. And he just starts pulling this toilet roll. He must have stuffed about a whole toilet roll down his throat. He just pulled it out, and the whole boat's just watching him, and it was just the most random thing I've ever seen. But the whole boat was just cheering and everyone's laughing. I'm like, this guy's crazy, but he's just Mitch Shearer's it's a little bit different to your question, but he was one of the funniest dudes. You just around him and he just crack you up. He's a good guy, man. He's funny as.
About this, who was some of the people that you just could not have done what you've done in your career as a Speedway sidecar competitor? Who are some of the people that without them you just wouldn't have done it?
Straight away, mum and dad. They backed us from day one. Like I said, they bought us a junior bike, and then it's all well and good to have the bike, but you still got to be able to travel. We'd be up back and forth to Mildura. They took us to Bibra Lake when we were juniors. And then obviously when I went to seniors, we were sort of fortunate that Dad sort of could do it with his business and with the company he worked for, to travel with the clean team and stuff like that. So Mum and Dad obviously were 100% the most important people at the start. Then you got people like Lee Spot on Motorcycles, who was my first sponsor, and a bloke called Grant Howarth. Grant and Lee, they backed me from day one. They still back me now. Without those sort of guys, I wouldn't have been able to do it. And then moving forward from that, there's a bloke called Mick Farrell, which most people know. I was sitting in a car yard working in Newcastle when I decided to go over there and have a look around the world. And Mick Farrell rang me up and he said, "How you going, mate? Would you like to have a ride?" And he was a big game changer in my career. From he backed me. He's always had faith in me at what I could do on a bike. So he was a really important role. I still talk to Mick all the time, and every 2 or 3 months, give him a call. "How you going, mate?" And I'll never forget what he did for me ever. And then obviously from that, Darren Trelaw. So we didn't plan to go racing together. It happened. Mate, I look back now, and you don't really realise all the things you got taught. But I will say the one thing, like I said before, that he really taught me is how to still be focused, not crack under pressure, and get the best out of yourself when the pressure's on. So, obviously you can ride a motorbike and you can build an engine. We all know that. But that's the one thing that I really took from Darren, is how to stay calm under pressure, and I've done. So, and then obviously my passengers. You can't go racing a Speedway sidecar without a passenger, So in juniors, I had my brother, and he was a great passenger. And then obviously when you go to seniors, Mark Lucas, Sam Harrison, Simon Coors, passengers are underrated. I think that's why we also went well, because I didn't underrate them at all, because I know what it was like to be one. So if you got a good team around you and you and the passenger gel, like I said, we weren't the fastest every week, but would always make sure what was the best way to try and win, even though if we're not the fastest. Without all that, and obviously all your sponsors, you can't do it without your sponsors, and your family backing you. So yeah, good times, and I miss it, and but I'm also grateful for all the opportunities I got. So not too many people get the opportunities I got to do. You're racing a Speedway sidecar, let alone a motorbike around the world, and yeah, I'm really, really fortunate for that.